Welcome back, everyone. You know that Let's Play in history, and we're gonna talk about one of the worst presidents of all time today.
I want to share something with you. Something I have never shared with another.
Magic,
When I was at Professor Xavier's school, I listened to this album in my room all the time. Sometimes
I always wonder what kind of music she'd like.
your time in limbo. Music must have been a revelation.
It was a lifeline, but it made me no friends. I prefer to listen in solitude, as I always have.
You are not alone now.
Good, you noticed. The others will not understand. But I know you will, as we both have so much in common.
I suppose we are kindred spirits in a way.
We are both children
My boy
of
gets it.
darkness who escaped our destinies and decided to forge new ones. We are both reformed, trying to be good guys now, even if we do not always succeed. It's nice to have someone to relate with.
It is it not?
Okay, enough talking. Let's listen to the album now. The second hour is when it really gets good.
Well, that's good. That's wonderful. I was wondering when I was gonna upgrade our friendship level. Oh. Yep. Okay. Sorry, party people. I'm pretty pooped today. But the show must go on, and I will say that.
Hey, can I ask a favor? Thanks, Hunter.
Morning, Blaze. Want to do some Spirit of Vengeance training in the yard? I sound so lame. Forgiveness. From what I understand about Blaze, he is the one for Brotherhood. Oh, hey! Didn't know I had an audience for my little self-pep talk.
Yep.
Just trying to hype myself
Oh,
up.
Robbie.
If we're gonna be working with Blaze, then he starts hanging out at the Abbey, and we're driving across the desert together killing demons.
What's funny too is I don't think Robbie Reyes is a bad
I mean, he's the original
he's a
Spirit
bad
of
ghost
Vengeance,
writer.
the real ghost rider. And I'm just Robbie Reyes from East LA. How the hell am I supposed to live up to that?
You do not want to follow in Blaze's footsteps. He does not seem like a role model for anyone.
Of course, Giant Blaze isn't a role model.
He's always seemed like the best to me.
I think the wisest thing to do would be to chart our own path.
All right.
Look at me. I'm standing here in the middle of this ancient
Today, though, we are going to be
surrounded
talking about
by some of Earth's
FDR.
greatest heroes.
Sorry for the long pauses and not a lot of talking.
It's not like I got that special
Ugh,
something
just a long night.
Look at you.
I'm recording this after waking up after a long shift.
I follow my moral compass and do what I believe is right.
FDR, though,
What if you don't have a moral
honestly, just a
compass, or your moral compass
just a
is
garbage human being.
head and isn't just a talking cricket?
Then I suggest developing
One of the
crickets are untrustworthy.
single worst presidents
Well,
that this country has ever had.
thanks for the heart to heart, or
And
demon to demon. Whatever. You've given me
I think he's-
a lot to digest.
when I was growing up, he was one that it's not necessarily that he made me question history.
I always knew I would put a smile on your face.
I would probably more so say he's certainly someone that made me look at things a little bit more critically in a way that I don't think I even understood or had the capacity to understand, to be honest with you. Oh, Cap. Damn, look at that beefcake.
I gotta say, hanging with you has been a major confidence boost. Well, sort of.
Now, what I mean by this is that,
Moving around this place,
you know how people say history is written by the winners, etc., etc.
Carol can fly the solar system and the fighter jet. And then there's me, with a flaming demon in my head.
The flaming demon in your head is far from mundane.
It's not necessarily, I think, that they're written by the winners,
Top shelf cool. Not like those other guys.
and it's not necessarily that losers have a piece of history too, but
I don't know. I don't want to mess up and disappoint
I mean,
anyone.
if it was written by just the winners, they would only say all the good things. I think the people who win, everything's very carefully, not scripted, but
Trust yourself.
it's very
Have the right skills. And if you need backup, Sparky is always with you.
formed, and there's a specific, like, almost formula that they would have to follow in order to actually
Best.
tell history.
We all mature in different ways.
And
I hear you, Hunter.
me being a Japanese American and me being,
I
well, an
appreciate
American, if I'm just going to be plain and straightforward,
best is
you know, you're going to have a level of skepticism, truly, about your government. And for me in particular, with, you know, certain presidents who have clear negative qualities and things in their, what the hell is this? You know, they have a couple things in their history that are clearly and objectively bad, that make me go, what? Holy.
Another magical mystery box. And to think, I used to design sentient future tech.
Yeah.
Don't blink or you miss it. Genius inventor strikes again.
Where are these cards coming from? But, I always felt this way about history, but with FDR in particular, I'd argue it really... Damn. Good Lord.
See you, Hunter.
Oh.
This should be useful.
That's gonna help a lot.
Nicely. Always better to be prepared.
But I'm getting way off topic. I really gotta focus here. I think I've been playing for like 10 minutes and barely said anything. Okay, focus. He's one that I look at and I think to myself, or he's one that made me question everything. Because you grow up, especially with FDR, thinking and being told he's this great president. I think in like whatever national president survey, he's usually ranked like in the top 3 with like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, FDR, which one of those I only agree with. The other 2, nah, not really, not so much. It's like he does all these good things. He does this, he does that, you know. It's like, okay, well, he locked up basically 500,000 people in internment camps, which some people argue the difference between concentration camps and internment camps, and I'm like, okay, but you're still just locking up people, okay? Locking up people for literally no reason, quite literally, other than their specific race and ethnicity. Like, it's not a good look, people. I believe I forgot what it was. It was like Executive Order like 6626 or something. And so in Charlie. Yes. I'm gonna bring my puppy dog out. And you're told all these things about him, and it's like, well, he also was like a cheater, married his cousin. That people try to make that normal. Just saying, that's not normal. And then on top of that, see the power of his politics, and I think they try to use him in a wheelchair as being really good and kind of not heartwarming, but it's like he shows resiliency even through pretty much everything, through polio, etc., and it's like, okay, but he quite literally doesn't know how anything works and screws over more and more people for basically the entire 1930s because he doesn't understand any form of economics, and everything that he does actually makes things substantially worse, even more so than Herbert Hoover's presidency, where the unemployment near the end of his term, because of his excessive government intervention, reaches 20%, and then it ends up reaching even higher percentages with FDR. And it's like, well, what's happening? Why isn't it working? It's like, well, you're just doing quite literally everything you can to make sure it doesn't work. You gotta do a general mission. Son of a gun. Holy crap, how did he become level 10 already? This is such an odd pairing right here. He's just not a good man and not a good president. I will not have anything nice to say about him.
All you have to do is take out that nest mother. Sounds simple enough, right?
Of course. That's good.
No problem.
I'm not sure if it's ethical for people like us to beat
Ooh.
like you.
And a card player fund. Sweet. Yeah, let's try that. I have no idea what I'm doing. We're just having fun and winging it.
Ross's wanted for war crimes. Huh. You guys could be accessories, you know. Face your end.
Ooh. Is that all you got? Anyways, let's just get into it. Let's just talk about FDR. FDR was born in 1882 in Hyde Park, New York. Obviously a part of the Roosevelt family. His father was a lawyer, part of the big Roosevelt family. I think he's a part of his mom or his dad's second marriage, I believe. Let me see if I can move Captain Marvel. What? Make sure I get all these. Boom. Multi KO. Oh, sweet. Yeah, and level up. I gotta get rid of this bind one because I don't think I'm ever really gonna use it significantly.
Let's try this. I could have made that so much worse.
Just- Okay, cool.
Let's see how they handle this.
Okay. Now, if you want to understand initially where FDR comes from, I would say specifically, he and his family were more what they would be considered were as a classic bourbon Democrats. They were specifically, they were by definition classically liberal, which I think is a little funny because that's I don't think that's at all what FDR is or was. But it is what it is. And I'll give him credit, you know, FDR when he was a young lad, was a pretty good looking young dude. Tall, strong jaw, you know what I'm saying? Ooh, Spider-Man's kinda screwed.
I do feel pretty amazing.
Spider-Man! Boom. You know, you want to talk about a kid who had pretty much just about anything and everything. You know, it's little baby FDR. You know, from his entire childhood, his family was, within reason, but strongly so, a very wealthy family. They had everything. He would be able to shoot guns, ride on horses, played polo, tennis, golf. Just like Teddy Roosevelt, I had frequent trips to Europe, and actually helped him learn numerous different languages. I think he ended up being fluent in in a bunch of different languages like German, French, something along those lines.
Hey, kid. Well, it's time for the meeting.
And just like Teddy as well, he was generally homeschooled until a certain age. But okay.
Hello, my dear.
What are you doing here?
Whenever Sarah was this nervous,
And there's a bunch of stories about when he was a kid. He's like,
a
he was
smile
told at a young age, if you want to be a good use to society and whatnot, you should devote yourself in life to public service. Although people, and myself included, would probably think
I don't know.
it probably those conversations probably didn't go like that. It's probably more like, well, if you really want to make it in life, and make some real money, you're gonna have to. Whoa, what the hell?
Say what it's about.
Big news. Whatever it is.
If you want to make some money, you're gonna have to,
I have no
actually make some money by stealing money from the American people, that kind of thing. Truth be told, he wasn't a very smart man, if I'm gonna be quite honest with you. When he was in college, because he went to Harvard, he's someone who just really wasn't that intelligent. Just gonna be honest. He ends up becoming an editor for his school's newspaper, which the only quality he remotely showed was an ability to persuade people. He was always a good orator and a good speaker. The things that come out of his mouth, though, not so much intelligent, which is just the truth.
Call this meeting whatever this is.
He's a little like,
How do you know?
how do I put it?
Because I've
I
called
think someone pointed it out to me. He's kind of like Barack Obama a little bit, where Barack Obama is smart and a very good speaker, but doesn't mean he's intelligent, if that makes any sense. You might know things, but to have an understanding of human capacity or to critically think about certain things and situations in more than one or two, points of view, or, broadening the narrow thinking, it's not in their repertoire to be able to do so. FDR is kind of the same way. And I also think, which is a big problem in schools, even back then, is I think he got a lot of what he believed were things about economics in particular that he quote unquote learned, but actually didn't really learn. He's like, everything I was taught about economics is just not right. It's the incorrect way that we're actually running our economy, yada yada yada. He's basically learning under the Wilsonian ideal of economics, which is no bueno, no good.
But it will be a waste, I'm certain.
The next thing you know, his father dies. Teddy Roosevelt becomes president. Around this time, it's around like the 1900s. And I think seeing his uncle, well, quote unquote uncle, become president allowed him and helped him, be like, I think I can do that.
That's because I am. I could use a moment to collect my thoughts.
Anyways, after Harvard, he goes to Columbia Law School. And I don't even think he technically graduates. I don't know how things were back then, but he was able to take the bar before he could actually actually graduate. Really have no idea how any of that works.
Thank you all for coming. Truthfully, I wasn't sure everyone would.
Anyways,
That's why we're meeting.
soon after graduating Columbia,
I'm not certain about the rest of you.
he gets a job at this prestigious law firm, and then around this particular time too, he's courting, the babes and whatnot. There's he tried to court an heiress one time to a prestigious company and whatnot, which I always find funny. But then he's like looking at his cousin, Eleanor, Miss Eleanor Roosevelt, the fifth cousin, once removed, who's Teddy Roosevelt's niece, by the way.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but Tony is
And
right.
she's like, "What's up, cuz? How you doing?" You know? And look, I'm telling you, just everyone makes fun of like the fact that, oh, Alabama and all that stuff, and people in the deep south are like, you marry your cousin. Well, it's like, okay, you should definitely look up various other states where the incestual rate, I guess you could say, and cousins and all that dating and doing the dirty, it's gonna be a lot higher than you think, even in places where it's not prominent and prevalent. I mean, I know Oregon, for instance, is in the top 10, just pointing that out. Even today, by the way. You'd be very surprised. I'm just saying, by looking at those numbers. Now, don't get me wrong, like, a lot of the South, they're definitely high on that list, but it doesn't tell the whole story, is my whole point.
Both right. The only one who can lead us to victory is the hunter.
I don't know the relationship fully between FDR and Teddy. To be quite honest with you, I don't know if they particularly liked each other. I do know that at the very least they had a decent enough relationship that Teddy was able to walk Eleanor Roosevelt down the aisle, because her father was passed away, Teddy's brother, and at that point, and
Tell us how you plan to lead.
the two ended up being married in around 1905ish. How old is he?
Rely on everyone of
I know he's probably somewhere in his early 20s when they get married.
We all will. But the team is here to hold us steady, no matter if we stumble.
They ended up living in New York, and actually in Hyde Park. So I mean, basically, he ends up getting a place where Franklin was born and lived. And they had a very, to say it politely, a very tumultuous relationship.
Tony, do you believe the world is truly in danger?
Of course.
And do you believe I can lead the team against this threat?
Well, yeah.
And you and the rest of the Avengers need to trust me to do what is best for all of us.
Not to interrupt this feel-good moment, but what about us? It's no secret we were sidelined when Tony and the others showed up. Caretaker built our team to face this threat, but we've been pushed aside. I need to know that ends here.
I will rely on my teammates equally.
There's no future where the Midnight Suns miss the fight.
That's all we needed to hear.
You need to hear more than that. So does everyone here. Nico.
Anyways,
Leon,
they had like 6 kids. All of them born within the next decade of their lives, which is crazy because all the while he's like having like, there's only been like a couple confirmed affairs, quote unquote. I'm telling you, this guy was slinging around, and I don't blame him. Like, he's a shitty human being, pardon my language, but he's gonna do what I would say rich, egotistical, and insane dudes just do, basically. And Eleanor knew all this too, by the way. She wasn't naive about it. She was dumb in the early goings of their marriage. And most people, even in history books today, they're basically honest, and they're like, look, after all that, it was clear that the relationship was a political partnership and relationship instead of just, getting a general divorce and whatnot.
I still do not see the point of all this.
They're finally thinking of something other than themselves.
It actually got so bad, I think they ended up having having two homes pretty close to each other.
The plunger and set the ball rolling. The rest is gravity and the occasional nudge.
Is that a pinball reference?
In the 70s, Agatha insisted I pick up
I mean, like, they were barely around each other even when FDR was president. That's how destructive their relationship was.
Think I could take you?
In particular, like when he was president and the various different times he was in ill health, you know, he would call for her and she's like, nah, brah. Okay.
Every meal should be like this one.
Contentious?
I could have brought popcorn.
For the team?
No, to watch you turn the Abbey upside down and shake it like tambourines. You were more
In fact, I think one of the ladies that he ends up
I'll bring
you know, having extramarital affairs with, I think she was there when FDR ends up having that final stroke that really just takes him out, if I'm correct. I think one of them also resulted in a kid too, but I'm not sure.
Which was a mistake.
I think even one of his sons was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure my dad was banging a princess from Norway or something like that at one point." I'm just saying he's not a good person, you know. He's not a good person, people.
Feels good to me.
The only thing I will give him, you know, some credit for is the fact that he did not hide his goals. I'll put it that way. He was always about politics. He was always about power. He was always about control and influence. He would soon leave law after like literally just a couple years and try his hand in politics. You know, he, just like his father, James, was a Democrat. Although it wasn't going to be a bourbon Democrat, he was a general Democrat, basically. And he really started vying for, because the name Roosevelt has a lot of swing to it, thanks in part because of Teddy, and he starts running for and helping in many different elections, starts trying to change the political scene within New York, which really goes back and forth quite a bit during this particular point in time, and especially the Northeast, it's still heavily Democrat at this point. But he himself, he runs for the New York State Assembly.
Why would it be weird?
But that doesn't go particularly well. Mainly because he thought the incumbent was going to be leaving office. That was a Democrat, and he's like, "Nah, I'm going to do one more term." And so he's just like, "Okay, well, I guess I'll just run for for a state senate seat then." And I think the biggest reason was because at that time, the area that he lived in the county, was specifically very heavily Republican, but the state assembly wasn't. So it just seemed like a bit of a difficult thing for him to accomplish. But again,
I don't know why I didn't see it.
he campaigns very well. I think he's very smart in terms of his campaigning in order to gain power.
Most leaders I've encountered in life.
And he actually wins the seat basically in 1910, 1911-ish.
The name alone carries rank and authority.
So if I went by private,
And historically, he's looked at as someone who was a big force against Tammany Hall at that particular point in time. I would probably say he wants to create his own political machine that he can control against Tammany Hall, who is the big political machine in New York, because that's just who Roosevelt is. He's just all about power and control and influence for the most part. I mean, he ends up leading this group that would be called the New York Insurgents, and Yeah, we're going to bed. Or do I? Yeah. Okay. Can I just, like, leave? Okay, so that's just gonna take me back. We're gonna go night-night. Ooh, Cap wants to talk to us. What's up, bestie?
Hey, can I ask a favor?
Of course, I'll give Robbie a gift. Take a friend mushroom hunting. What is this game, I swear?
We don't cook enough around here. Everyone does their own thing. We should have a night where we all bring something to the table. You know, potluck? We could start a weekly tradition. Hey, I make a mean carne asada.
You'll be reviving an old custom. Before I died, we did what you call potluck about once a week.
Huh. For real? Just, you and caretaker?
Agatha was there. So were the original Midnight Suns.
Okay, we're doing this. Give me a few days.
You know, after you work out, and the next couple of days it's just pain. That's where I'm at now.
Too much?
A bit.
I'll work on it.
Huh. Should I give him jelly beans? I don't know if he'd like jelly beans. Sure.
Reset. Mushrooms are gross.
Awesome. Thanks, Hunter.
Ooh, Carol wants to talk. So many. I'll play games? Yeah, what is this, people? Ugh.
Vanquished me once again.
This is the life. Kicking it with the
Now, one
legendary
thing,
hunter.
just like I'll
And
give,
kicking said legendary hunter's ass
you know,
with
certain
fire.
Democrat leaders in recent years, some credit is I think he understood media manipulation and just political maneuvering that would aid him, and they understand the political machinations of how things work and how things are going to operate.
You're certainly saving me from boredom.
Excuse me.
Rematch then?
You realize that you'll need to
FDR is
read
really
that
no
screen
different in my personal view. He's
Just press that
he's very smart.
start button already.
He ends up leading a pretty strong contingency in
I am good now.
in New York against Tammany Hall.
Just not
He becomes a very well-known name, although it's fair because his uncle's basically Teddy Roosevelt, and Teddy's doing pretty much well, he's being Teddy, and what I mean by that is he's destroying and fighting the Republican Party, and you want to talk about someone who has name recognition, it's Teddy,
Even so,
Practice makes perfect.
Dang, not enough.
See you around.
Man, I am popular today.
Books in this place are something else. Did you know that there is an entire section about spiders and the occult?
Peter, I'm sorry you had to find out this way, but I guess it is time we talked.
afraid of spiders, are
He
you?
is terribly afraid of spiders.
You're a hunter.
Holy hell.
I am a complicated being.
Huh. Is the legs? The crawling? The knowledge that the entire spider population could eat all of humanity in a year given the chance?
Oop, sorry.
Or is it because there is
Just
one
hit my
just
microphone.
away from you right now?
What? Where?
Just kidding.
He was smart. He took bold decisions.
Actually, all this
Um,
got me thinking.
His first big one, I would say, is when Teddy's running for president. He doesn't endorse his own uncle,
Spider race.
which
Spiders being
did hurt the
so
relationship a
adjacent,
smidge.
who knew? I can maybe be a good fit for the Midnight Suns. I'm not asking you to pull strings for me or anything like that.
And,
I just want your honest opinion as a friend.
because he backed Woodrow Wilson, which that's just basically him doing political maneuvering, basically.
Focus on being the best you can be in every situation. And when this is all over, we can talk about your future.
Of course, of course. Either way, I would like a chance to prove myself first. Don't want anyone to say that you're giving me any special treatment.
Well, I am sure you can figure out how to make that happen.
One last question.
Yes?
If I read these books here, I'm not summoning any.
And actually, because of that, I think
spirits, right?
he ends up getting a position within his cabinet as the assistant secretary to the Navy, which he would basically be doing for the next, like, 10 years or so.
Got it.
Do-do-do-do-do.
How's it going, boss? This never gets old.
What did I get?
You're welcome, Hunter. I'm here if you need me.
Who needs a talking to? Caretaker needs a talking to. Oh,
There you are, Hunter. Please join me when you have a moment. I insist.
What do you think of Logan?
It's good to have him here again. He's always been a trusted friend.
I can see that. He seems to be a man of good character, despite the claws.
Always thought his claws were his best feature. They protected us, Agatha and I. Could even say they saved our lives. It must have been, what, 1985? 84? I remember because Agatha crimped her hair and shoulder pads had cast some
and
strange
long story
shadows
short,
on my
basically for the
look.
entirety of the Wilson administration, he's working as the assistant to the Secretary of the Navy.
Well, happy until a rather disturbed coven of
Doesn't really do a whole lot. He just, makes the backroom deals, becomes friends with everyone, wink wink, handshake here and there. So much so that he ends up trying to run for the vice presidency
They tried to kidnap their
during
They felt she had betrayed witchcraft
near the end of World War One for the 1920 election,
to drag her back to
and
by force. Logan was staying with us when
I think he was actually trying to go with Herbert Hoover, but Herbert Hoover declared his
and refused
political
to tell
alignment
Logan
and party devotion to the Republican Party. So he actually ends up becoming the vice president of Warren G. Harding's opponent, Mr. James Cox, who was a governor at the time. And of course, doesn't look good that they get their butts spanked like that, like crazy. Basically, he after that election, he goes back into law and serves as the president of this private company. I forgot what it was. But at this time, he He's also low-key just trying to build some political support, you know. Still a prominent name, and
Something like that.
you know, for the next couple years, he just tries building things back up. Build back better, people. Okay.
Was running a search for our new pal Blaze's location, and all of a sudden, this happened.
Accorne credite tucri.
Latin?
Do not trust the horse Trojans. Carol, just what type of search were you?
This is also where he gets sick, unfortunately. He gets polio. Although historical revisionism, a lot of people believe it's this disease called Guillain-Barré syndrome. Effectively, it's an infection that paralyzes your peripheral nervous system, which controls your arms and your legs.
Cannot be a coincidence.
Tony, did Howard do this to all his files?
I don't know which one it is specifically.
Really juicy.
How juicy.
Probably polio, but it could be Guillain-Barré syndrome. But regardless, he's basically paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of his life. This time I'm going to pick Wolverine. Wolverine just built different, you know what I'm saying? His family had hoped that he would retire, but, you know, FDR, he wants that money, he wants the power. He's driven by things that most people shouldn't really be driven by, to be honest with you, but once you have that ambition, there's really nothing you can do to stop it, to be honest.
Stark, wait. We don't know what he's planning.
Hesitated with Bruce before and it cost us. Don't worry. This time I've accounted for.
And if these results are correct, it changes everything.
You knowingly triggered that Trojan horse, didn't you?
I did.
Another trap, Bruce? I'm disappointed.
No trap, Tony. An invitation.
To what? Join Queen Demon and the Creepy Crew?
I wonder if we're going to get the Hulk finally. I know he's a playable character we get, so I'm hoping we do get him.
She values me, not the monster you all seem so fixated with. Together, we will shatter the limitations of what you refer to as magic and science. But don't take my word on it. My gamma accelerator is only the first step.
Now, I'm just going to basically say it for the next decade. He's just being a political monster over the next decade, just to put it politely. He's waiting for his right time to run for office, specifically. He's making all the right moves in terms of who to back, who not to back. Even people he just doesn't like. Oh, he's gonna turn it. He's gonna become the Hulk.
Well, Bruce, I can see how well this whole Lilith thing is working out for you, but the problem is, I already have a team. And while I appreciate the generous offer, we're gonna take back my father's data. And then kick your evil ass.
You misunderstand me, Tony.
He's gonna turn.
Asking.
Okay.
Dr. Banner was kind enough to alert Hydra's forces to your presence. If you ever wanted to show off your elite hacking skills, now would be the time, Mr. Stark.
Me? Show off? What would ever give you that idea? And didn't I tell you to call me Tony?
Just hack the computer before they smash it, please, Tony.
See, that wasn't so hard.
Really? How would he know how to hack a terminal? Anyways, he bides his time. He's basically being given the opportunity to run for the governorship of New York. Ends up taking it in a... Ends up taking it happily so. Wins outright. Ends up winning, I think he ends up serving like 2 terms as governor, something like that. Very happy because he's got some leadership roles, got some more name recognition, gets to instill a lot of his ideas, economic relief through the use of government, you know, etc., etc. Not to mention too, he's like, Tammany Hall, you guys are going down, son. So, you know, he's pretty happy that he gets to, you know, lay his claim that he's like, I'm going to defeat Tammany Hall. And let's just say it's a mixed bag for him as governor. Seriously, how does he know how to hack a terminal?
Flying mechanical combat suit almost seems like cheap. Maybe you do not realize the trouble you are in.
Is he going to destroy the last terminal? I'm going to be pissed if he does. Like a champ, Wolverine takes it. He's probably KO'd though. Nope. Oof, not good. Good lord.
That facility is teeming with Hydra reinforcements. Anything to expedite the process.
Look, you can't just smash the keyboard and wait for a bunch of algebraic equations to fly off the screen. This isn't some 90s movie.
Seriously, how does he know how to hack a terminal? That's gonna bother me.
Got it.
Why can it never be easy with you?
Just lucky, I guess.
Tony, wait. We have what we came for. There's no reason to follow him.
Tony, you stupid. What is this? Slay Queen?
Is it me, or are these things just getting bigger?
I would be more concerned about the mace.
Oh, I was getting to that. I just can't pull my eyes away from that massive brain case of hers.
I'm glad you're in good spirits, but the Dread needs no laughing matter.
Welcome assistance.
Okay, let's try this strategy.
How much better can I get?
Oop. And a level up. Anyways, 1932 now. He's been governor for a while, gets a lot of name recognition. Throws his hat in the ring in the 1932 election, which leads to him. What are these? And he basically runs on the idea of his New Deal plan, by the way. Which a lot of people did not like because it was very radical and intense, and you know, they're like, "Ooh, this might be overstepping things a bit, Tony." But it works in a lot of ways because he ends up just consolidating the Democrat base and a lot of progressive individuals. Specifically the progressive wing of the Republican Party, he actually ends up taking a lot of votes. Okay, we gotta start taking these guys out. That's a lot of health.
Take a few swipes at her kneecaps.
They cannot possibly match your strength.
Sweet. I can't tell if I'm just too powerful now, or if it's like, can't tell what it is.
Attached to that face. I saw a move like that once, centuries ago.
So I do have two. How forceful is this knockback? Oh, pretty forceful, actually.
Do not be intimidated by this form.
No mercy for the servants of Lilith. Powerful as Lilith had hoped.
Not gonna lie, it's pretty clear and obvious how he wins the election. He's smart, he was a great speaker, the dissolution of the Republican Party and the economy, just no bueno, you know. So, and a lot of people always point that this is just another new political alignment where people are shifting towards the Democratic Party because of the push for the progressivism. What the? I gotta do it twice? Son of a business.
Just what I needed. About time.
Plus 4. Okay. I'll risk it for the biscuit.
Well executed.
And he did.
I will not be defeated.
Now for something real special.
Anyways, Franklin becomes the next president of these United States of America.
Someone feel a breeze.
Takes a shot like a champ.
Is that your best shot?
Was that a KO? That is a KO, of course.
Our friend is down.
Got some more flunkies coming in.
Not lost interest.
I'm tough. Not invincible.
Powering up.
Targeting pretty much everyone. Just gonna heal Wolverine.
Light is on our side.
Delta Blade's here.
Curious if this will end her. That do it? Oh, that did it.
I wasn't sure how you'd fare against her, but the Dread Maiden was no match for you.
What'd you call that thing again?
Dread Maiden.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I think I lost myself there for a second.
A little tidbit: when he was first inaugurated, FDR actually did have an assassination attempt on his life. This guy named Giuseppe. I think he ends up hitting the Chicago mayor instead during one of the when he was just driving around or doing something. A lady with the purse hits the guy and stops him, which is probably one of the reasons why like it's a little difficult to take that specific assassination attempt seriously, I guess. I mean, anyone that shoots at you know, a future president or a sitting president. No bueno.
Every time it seems like I finally put my family issues behind me, someone has to go and pick at the scar.
Is this about what Banner found in your father's files?
Bingo. Let's just say your mom and my dad would have made a real cute couple. In hell.
At least you managed to grab whatever Banner was after.
Tiny victory, I guess. But I don't think Banner or his puppet master are going to give up that easily. Especially knowing what kind of stuff my father had in those files.
Perhaps I should know more about him. Your father, that is.
Some kids
It's
have
okay,
hobbies
Tony.
like collecting coins
It's
or
okay.
stamps. Mine collected Defense Department contracts. On the rare occasions when he wasn't off trying to build a better bomb, he was yelling at me.
Over what?
Over everything.
So Banner wants one of your father's bombs.
No, it's worse than that. Howard had an avid interest in gamma radiation. That's the thing that puts the Hulk in Hulk. He always talked of constructing a gamma accelerator, an unbelievably powerful piece of machinery.
I'll briefly
That's
talk
what Banner's
about...
after.
You know, I'm going to wait for the next part. Because Roosevelt, now that he's President of the United States of America after his election in 1932,
Have your can-do attitude right now.
it's just a whole bag of mess to get to. That's going to take a while to... He has actually several New Deal plans, by the way, which people tend to forget about. It's not just the New Deal. It's the first New Deal, the second New Deal, third New Deal. Like, he's just trying to do whatever he can, while also lying to the American people, mind you.
Lilith's taking more and more time. We are losing this.
We could use a night out.
Let's do it.
I saw that Dread Maiden. Lilith's really plumbing the
See, it's stuff like this I think is fun and cool, but like talking about our feelings and stuff like that, not so much, you know?
Don't get in the habit of relaxing like this. Our enemies don't take the day off.
Dude, look at your biceps, Logan.
Always on, always ready.
They say I'm wound tight. You can't white knuckle the apocalypse, kid.
I thought you said we could not relax.
I said don't get in the habit. You're always on. One day you'll snap in half. That's good for no one but our enemies. Didn't expect to enjoy myself.
Okay.
How are you, Peter?
Better than the world out there. I've been watching this for hours, hoping to get a glimpse of the neighborhood, see how it's holding up through all this. But I guess Queens is not important enough for the news media to cover.
An absence of news is not necessarily a bad thing.
Is that supposed to make me feel better?
So take heart that nothing is being reported regarding your neighborhood. It probably means everything is okay there.
Thanks, Hunter. That makes me feel mildly better. I just
Now,
hope
which
everything's
Aunt May,
safe.
though, Peter? That's the question.
I've been trying to reach her on her
Is it the
cell
hot
phone,
Aunt May or
but
the,
signal keeps dropping.
you know, more
I'm guessing that big
older
hole
Aunt
in the
Mays?
atmosphere is interfering with her cellular network. Sometimes I feel like I should be there with her, to protect her, to protect the neighborhood. But I know you need me here.
Be assured, we will not allow any harm to come to her.
Really mean that?
I do.
That means so much to me to hear you say. Oh, looks like I just got a message.
From your Aunt May.
No, MJ. She said Aunt May
How
was
do you
staying
know?
over.
You're staring at me this entire time.
You should call them.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. Thanks for checking in on me, Hunter.
I'm concerned about you.
time for bed. Beautiful guys. Look, like and subscribe. I hope y'all do enjoy this. We're going to continue the next part just a little bit, and of course, perfect timing. Perfect timing. Look, God bless. Y'all rock. Y'all have a good one.